right, Phil, it's another top five. You don't know what I'm about to say. I'm just going to spring it on you, see what you do. The list is top five signs that it is time to quit your poker session and call it a day.
Okay, yeah. So it's time to top five signs. It's time to stop playing. Call it a day. It's a good one, and I could do it, but I think that it would be a lot more helpful to talk about quitting in general. I mean, signs that it's time to quit is the game is bad and you're falling asleep at the table and you're drunk, things like that. That's not really going to help people out there too much. But I think quitting is a really important topic in poker. I approach it as a professional poker player, but there are other reasons to quit. Like you could be a recreational player and still have to figure out when to quit. So from a purely logical perspective, coming from a aspiring winning player, let's put it that way. You don't need to be a professional, but aspiring winning player. If your goal is to win, in an ideal world, you'd be figuring out your hourly rate in the game. You'd compare that to your normal hourly rate. And then you look at opportunity cost, like, okay, well, maybe this game's pretty good, or maybe it's the same hourly rate as I'd always have. And so I can play it for the next 20 hours. Maybe my cognition doesn't decline because I'm magic. Then you have to sleep in, and then the next day you're not going to play. So you can't it's not just play forever. If your hourly rate is good, because you're going to have other opportunities later. That's the opportunity cost. The reality is that we're all bad at, in the moment, estimating our edge in the game. And we are the worst at that at the times when we should quit the most. You've been playing a long day. It's going really poorly. You've made some plays that you really regret. You've gotten really unlucky on top of that. You're exhausted. And you think to yourself, okay, yeah, I'm tired, but really want a chance to make this back. And this game's really good. So probably, even if you're trying to go through the logical process, probably my hourly rate in this game is like higher than normal because the game's good, and you get to justify it. But you get to justify logically what you want to do emotionally, which is to keep playing and chase your losses. And no matter how self-aware you are, I mean, there are degrees of this. Some people are really, really bad at it. Some are just a little bit bad at it, but we're all bad at it. You're just going to have bias because, first of all, emotionally, you want the answer that you want. So that's going to affect the lens through which you view the quality of the game. I think the part that we get the most wrong is the quality of our own play at that point in the night. Being tired has a huge impact on how well you play, and being frustrated has a big impact on how well you play. I'm not going to give some kind of generic one-size-fits-all rule to follow, like, play only 7 hours or less, and if you're down 5 buy-ins, quit. But I think those types of rules are really helpful because when we're away from the table and we're unemotional and we're thinking about, our strengths and weaknesses, we're thinking about past sessions that have gone poorly or sessions that have gone well. That's the version of us that we should trust to make these decisions, not the version of us that's been playing for 13 hours and down 10 buy-ins and exhausted. That's not the version of ourselves that we should trust. And maybe it is the case that version of us should keep playing in that specific instance because the game is so good, the opportunity is so rare. But that's a decision that ideally we would make beforehand away from that spot. The fact, by the way, that you're not in the best spot to make a decision also is evidence that you are not going to be playing your best poker, because poker's a lot of decisions in a row. It is true, like I said, sometimes it is right to keep playing because this is a once in a lifetime game, which they're never really once in a lifetime pretty much. But once they are, but they come along more than you think, because I've thought that many times. But I would say observe yourself in past sessions and observe yourself during sessions. Think about, what level of kind of loss impacts you emotionally or impacts you a lot emotionally, a medium amount emotionally, wherever it is. And, being tired affects certain people more than others. Losing affects certain people more than others. Winning, some people play worse when they're winning. I can't tell you to just know exactly what's right for you, but you're in a good position to judge what's right for you. But make those decisions away from the table and have a rule like, when I'm down 6 buy-ins, I just quit. Even if the game is great, I just quit. And with that rule in place, let's say over the course of a year, that happens 15 times. And maybe 2 of those times, if we were to, be omniscient and know exactly what your expected value was in the game and your opportunity cost later, maybe 2 of those times, it would have been a better decision to keep playing. But probably 13 of the times, it was a better decision to quit. So on balance, following a rule like that you've thought out beforehand, not that I'm telling you or that, a post that you read online is telling you, make your own rule. But following that rule on average is going to be helpful. I don't know. These days, most of the poker I play is heads up challenges where actually we're required to play on specific days at specific times. So I don't even have the option to quit. So I haven't been dealing with this lately. But I played for many years in other forms of poker. I think the key for me, and this goes outside of just pure expected value dollar logic, is I quit when I am unhappy. When I find myself playing and either because I'm tired or because it's going poorly, or because the game is slow and boring, like whatever, if I'm unhappy being there, then it's time to quit, because it's likely that I'm going to play worse when I'm unhappy, but also it's a certainty that when I'm unhappy, I'm going to be unhappy. And that's bad too, whether you are making money on the whole, or on average or not. So getting out of that situation and going to sleep, going to do something with friends, going to be with family, going to watch TV, that's something that's going to make me happier. And so in addition to probably making a good financial decision, it's just a good emotional life decision, because at the end of the day, your life and your happiness is more important than your poker results. So I think that's for me been a really big indicator that it's time to quit. And there's expected value in that too. If you're miserable 4 days a week, your quality, like you're going to play worse. Everything's going to go worse. So focus on kind of happiness and sanity and calm and comfort. I think that's really useful. But set rules based on that. Like that's actually a pretty bad example of a rule, because I can't always trust myself to tell myself that I'm unhappy. If I really want to keep playing, then I might lie to myself a little bit there. But anyways, that's an important one. And you might say well, Phil, if I quit every time I was unhappy, then I wouldn't get enough volume in, and I need to support myself through poker. I think if you're unhappy that frequently when you're playing poker, then poker's probably not a good career for you, either because you don't love playing it enough, or losing is too emotionally impactful for you, too negative for you. If it's the latter, if it's that losing is that you handle losing pretty poorly emotionally, then that's something you can work on. You don't necessarily have to quit poker. That's something you can work on. You can work on yourself, and kind of improving the way you react to swings, essentially. But being unhappy should not occur very often. Temporarily, sure, you lose a big pot, you're unhappy about that. And maybe you're unhappy for 10 minutes. Maybe you're frustrated and maybe you're frustrated for 45 minutes. That's okay. But if you're just really unhappy in your life for hours a session, then that's a bigger problem. Oh, so I didn't talk about, if you're a recreational player, when's it time to quit? But I guess I just did. If you're a recreational player, by definition, you're playing for fun. So if you're not having fun, if you're not happy, get out of there. You'll have another opportunity to play. So yeah, I that was pretty easy, actually. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful. We did go all over the place. But I think quitting is a really important topic. And though I didn't really list my own rules, because I actually have always adjusted them based on the types of games that I was playing and, their availability, my bankroll compared to the stakes, how I knew when it was, a really stressful emotional loss for me and was probably going to affect my play. All of those things matter. So it's situational. Yeah, hopefully you find that helpful. Set some rules for yourself. Write them down somewhere. Don't just sit there and think, oh, I think I know my rules, like 6 buy-ins, or, if I've been playing for 12 hours. But that's just write them down somewhere, make them real, and just follow those rules. And yeah, like I said, occasionally you'll make a bad quit in terms of your expected value, but more often than not, it'll be a good quit. And from expected value, a dollar expected value perspective, but from a life expected value perspective, it'll probably always be a good quit. Good luck.